Google Meet is better than testing. Mas convenient siya. Ito arahay, salamat na ulian. I hope dili ni magputol-putol ng connection. So, utrohon na ko ha. So, for class in, let us try to check kung dili ba if our devices will not slow down. That mo log in ta sa class in for attendance so that our attendance would be documented and then magklase gihapon ta sa Google Meet. Pwede magklase ta sa class in, tanaw nato how we will do next meeting. Next pa nato nga meeting because next week we will not meet kay mag-test ta. The coverage for the test next week would be second, Newtons, and Gauss-Seidel iteration. I think wala nato na appeal sa exam number 1. And also, I think nag-submit ko midterm grade. Katong midterm grade nga kung si submit, dili to tunong ha. Ako ra to siyang grado. Wala pa ko pa-check. Kay deadline na sa grado. May nusan ko ng sweldo kung di may ka-pass on time. So, nag-pass ko. So anyway, I will have to check the exam and also for the final grade, mo na dyan ang tinuod ni grado. So I hope everyone is available to take the exam next week. That's a Wednesday, April 27. Or dili naman na siya holiday. Okay, I will have to check ha. So what we will do today is we will have another method, isa lang. So, expectedly, kayo taas. We will still be solving linear equations of n unknowns. I hope you can see the slides now. The title is Gaussian Elimination and the step before doing the box substitution, we will do Gaussian elimination and pivot. As katong sa algebra nato when we solve linear equations using elimination, kay pareha ra siya ginani. So the concept is To solve a general equation, AX equals B by constructing an equivalent upper triangular system. UX equals Y. So, kaning AX equals B, this is an equivalent to UX equals Y. However, this U is a upper triangular matrix. Example of upper triangular matrix is when the upper part of the matrices has elements, the lower part has 0. So, a 3 by 3 upper triangular matrix would look like this. Naisod ang upper part sige, yung tanang pareha sila element. So there is no 0. So notice that this part here has the element. So that is why it is called an upper triangular matrix. So kung naa siya, if it is a linear equation, if the variables are x, y, and z, you would have so upper triangular system na siya. Diba? Example na sa J element. PHI example. So that's an upper triangular system that is described by UX equals Y. So let's look at an example to uh, to represent Gaussian elimination and pivoting. To express the following in augmented matrix form and find an equivalent upper triangular system and the solution. So an augmented matrix form of this linear equation is this form. Diba? Now notice the elements of the augmented matrix are the numerical coefficients. Na kani siya 1, 2, 1, 4, 13. So 1, 2, 1, 4, 13. Then 2, 0, 4, 3, 28. Muna sa sunod. I hope everyone follows. There. So this is called the augmented matrix. And then, to eliminate this, ang atong buhaton ani to get the upper triangular matrix equivalent, dapat pwede siya himuog 0. But equivalent ha. So the pivot points are kani siya 2, 4, 3. So ang buhaton ani is to make, the first step is to make this part 0. Right? So equivalent lang ha, dili siya hutdon, largohon o suwat 0, kani siya magtulong. Ibutang niya dire 2, 4, 3. So ang kibuhat niya is, para mahimong 0, i-divide by 2 divided by 1, then i-multiply silang tanan dito. Let us try to check ha. I-minus. I-eliminate man siya. Diba? So, let us try. Putang ako siya dire ang resulting ha. So, kanang sa imabaw, same ra na siya. 1, 2, 1, 4, 13. Right? Two divided by 1, mo nang mahimong 2. 4 divided by 1, mo nang mahimong 3. 3 divided by 1, mo nang mahimong 3 diri. And then, i-multiply ni siya to everyone here. And then, i-minus. So, pa na ako napagsuot. I-multiply siya. And then, i-minus. So, what happens would be, pag na-multiply diri, may mo siyang 2. 2 minus 2, we would have 0. Right? 0 minus 4, negative 4. 4 minus 2, 2. 3 minus 8, that's negative 5. And then 28 minus 26, that's 2. We do the same in the next row. Ako i-reason ha. So in the next row, ang gibuhat niya is 4 divided by 1, that's 4. So gi-multiply ni siya. And then, gi-minus. So 4 minus 4 is 0. And then 2 minus 8 is negative 6. 2 minus 8, negative 6, no? And then 2 minus 4 is negative 2. 1 minus 16, negative 15. And then, oh my God, kasut ako, 13 times 4 is 52. Kasut tatong kalkyuhon. Di makaya sa powers. 13 times 4 is 52. Lagi 52. So, negative 52. 20 minus 52 is negative 32. After that, ang katuna po, third na row. Pwede mangutada ha. So, kanang 3 nga nasa kilid, that's 3 divided by 1. Mao nang nahimo siyang 3 diri. So, multiply na po na siya diha. Dayon, i-minus siya diri. Naubos. Okay, minus. So, that's 3 minus 3, 0. Dayon, 1 minus 6, negative 5. 3 minus 3, 0. 2 minus 12, negative 10. 6 minus 39. Pero man 6 minus 39? Negative 33. 6 minus 39. So anyway, that's it. So notice, 0 na ang naa sa ubos sa 1. Let us look at the other. Nasa iyo po. So kung nasa iyo. 7, so has 0. 1 minus, kadyo. Negative 3 di ay ni siya. Hence, negative 3 minus 1 divided by 1 is negative 3. So anyway, the last row, I solve it wrong kay wala makiti ang negative. So anyway, I hope you get the gist of it. Nakuha na siya. I-divide siya, then i-multiply, then i-minus. So what happens would be, mauna ni siya. So notice, 0 na ni siya. So the next objective is to make this part 0 na pod. So this time, the pivoting row would be kanina pong sunod na row. So what happens would be, we find the values na i-multiply o i-minus, i-multiply na yun, minuson dito sa row. So how did we get 1.5? 7 divided by negative 4, that's negative 1.75. Negative 6 divided by negative 4, morning, 1.5. So, kani siya, fixed na siya, okay na siya, kani siya, okay. So, we are finding, we will find a way to make it 0. So, 4 times 1.5 or 1.5 times the entire dire, dayon i-minus, minus, minus, minus. This will make this 0 and some values here. Kani po siya, ang dire, i-multiply na po, dayon i-minus, minus, minus. This will make this 0. Ma-0 na po siya. So this will remain the same, the same, the same. So kanina po dire nga part, himuon na po siya 0. So what will make this 0 is i-multiply na po ni 9.5 divided by negative 5. This is negative 1.9. And then we multiply it here and then minus, minus, minus. So what happens would be, ma-0 na po na. So see, nahimo na siyang 0 dire. Right? And now, the augmented matrix becomes an upper triangular matrix. And equivalent siya ha. Equivalent upper triangular matrix. Notice? So by looking at that, kaya equivalent man siya, this corresponds to the literal coefficient, numerical coefficients of the variable. Right? So this would all be the coefficient of x1, kani siya coefficient of x2, coefficient of x3, coefficients of x4. Diba? Where x1, x2, x3, and x4 are this. Only siya ang solvon. Right? So we already now have the equivalent upper triangular matrix. So if this is x1, x2, x3, x4, and if we will look at the last row, kung tanaw na to ang last row, if this corresponds to x4, so this becomes 9, negative 9, x4 equals negative 18. We can solve now the value of x4. Pag masolve na po nato ang x4, if we look at the third row, where this corresponds to the numerical coefficient of x3, and this is the numerical coefficient of x4, na naman tayo value sa x4? Masolve na po nato ang x3. Right? Mauna siya, di ba, ang upper triangular matrix. So if I look at this part here, I can right away solve for x4. Kung naana ko yung value sa x4, I can now solve for x3. Di ba? Look at the formula for x3. Makaya ra yung sa pagporma, looking at the upper triangular matrix, and then look at how the value of x3 is solved. Na-gets ra siya. And then if you have the value for x4 and then x3, we can now solve for x2. And then we can now solve for x1. I hope it is clear how forming the linear equation into an augmented matrix and then forming it into its equivalent upper triangular matrix and then solving for the values of the variables using back substitution. Yun siya pagforma. Right? I hope wala ko ma-disconnect na pod. So anyway, mo ni siya. So when we make the worksheet for this, ang dili nato formula would be given. The user, kita magbutang sa mga formula, the user would only be inputting the values of the coefficients. Kakita buta sa calculator, we will only be inputting the values of the coefficient. Pag human natong input tanan, aning mga numbers, then we can see right away. Kailangan na may formula. We can see right away the values for x4, x3, x2, and x1. Ano siya, formula naman siya. And that is based on the coefficients as the elements of the matrix. Any question? I hope wala questions. I hope kung may question, mas maayo. And I hope nakagets na tatanan. I think wala question. Sige, pero wala ni siya ilabot sa test next week ha. I will be posting an assignment for this, an activity for this, and then mag-test ta next week. So mag-meet ta next week na. Wala pa eh. May na ba next week? I think May na next week. So anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for your time and please stay tuned for the posting that I will be doing for this activity. Thank you so much and good afternoon.
Excuse me, miss.
Thank you, Miss.
Yes,
Bye.
Nalanta ko pumunta na, miss ba?
yes.
Inig-solve na mo ni miss ba? I-spreadsheet ra na mo, miss.
Pwede siya i-spreadsheet. Yes.
Then, last lang, miss. Ang kaning numerator, miss, kay ipang minus yun na siya. Or, ay, wala rin na i-add sa kanang
I-minus
sa...
na siya kay for example, x4 mo man yung x4 no. Kay kung kaniya tong tan-awon, kani siya tong tan-awon, kuan man ni siya negative 9 x4 equals 18. Diba? So x4 equals negative 18 over negative 9.
Oo.
Right? Ang kani sa dire, kung kaniya tong tan-awon, x3. Kuan man ni siya kadto ako isort dire negative 5 x3 minus plus na siya actually plus negative 7.5 x4. Ang kanya kung gipasabuta ka ni diri equals negative 35. So that is why kung mag-solve ta sa x3, na kung mag-solve ta sa x3, ang kani siya mobalhin dito, di ba? So minus negative 7.5,
Okay, miss.
di ba? X4. Dayon ang kani siya ma-divide na siya para ma-solve ang x3. Only negative 5. I-formula ra na siya kay naa naman na siya sa matrix. Di ba? Ipupindot ra nimo. Kada ang sud ana nga cell mao'y ibutang diri sa denominator sa formula. Di ba? Then i-minus yun siya per ha, minus kay para mamagat man negative or positive. Ang sud ana minus yun na kay balhin man siya dito sa PCAS. Understood mo na siya nga plus. Understood mo na siya nga plus.
Thank you, miss.
Balhin
Thank you,
na siya
miss.
dito. Oops. I think makaya ra siya sa spreadsheet. So ang buhaton is the user is mo-input ra siya sa coefficient dito sa equation. Dayon, okay, formula naman tanan. Makita na, pag umali yung compute, o pag umali yung encode, formula naman tanan, makita na tayo niya diretso ang value sa x1, x2, x3, x4. Okay na? Any
Yes, miss.
other pangutana? I think wala. Please let me know kung while you are doing the spreadsheet, please let me know kung naay pangutana. Thank you for today. And kung wala na pangutana, pwede na mo exit. Salamaters.